Almost back.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Tat Chat number 143, the usual weekly chat with myself, Nick and Andrea, and Carla has joined us as well. Tom won't be able to make it because apparently his office is a state and he's embarrassed about it, which is a weak excuse. My office looks like an absolute sty right now. It feels like I'm sitting in a sty right now, and like I'm still here, damn it, Tom. So
check me out. Well, actually, it's not bad today. Right,
I got that.
I'll give you guys a quick glimpse of the floor. No, I can't. It's disgusting. I can't even do that. It's just disgusting. I'm not going to show. But yes, our weekly chat. Thank you, everybody. I do apologize for the slight delay in starting it. By slight, I mean about 15 minutes. Just got caught up with doing some errands, so just wasn't able to be here in time. I've literally come home straight away. You see, jacket's still on, and yeah. Well, actually, jacket's on because it's cold. Anyway, so let's go to the other guys in the chat. So Nick and Andrea, do you want to say hi?
Hello.
Hi.
There you go. Job done. Hello.
Job done. All right, that's it.
Very nice coat to hear.
Pardon?
It's a very nice coat to hear.
Oh, thank you. I do. It's a Rohan, good brand to look out for. Waterproof, I do wear the hell out of my clothes though. I got this from a charity shop locally and I was just like, that's it now, it's my winter coat.
Yeah. It's good to wear the hell out of your clothes.
Exactly. And Carla, how are you? See, you've been uploading some videos. I've not been able to watch them because I've had children around me and I didn't know what you and Lex were getting up to. So
there is some X-rated language. Most of it Lex, I have to say, and most of it straight off the bat of the video as well. Sometimes before I've even got my ass on the chair, she's swearing. So yeah, there's some X-rated language if your children are a little bit tender of ear.
For those that don't know, Lex actually came over to visit, didn't she, Carla? Do you want to tell the guys how that went for you?
Yeah, she came up on Saturday. She arrived on the lunchtime train, bringing half of the contents of the Bridge End charity shops with her, which was a bizarre decision on her part. She was like, I had an hour to kill before I got on the train, so I went shopping. So she turned up with like 8 carrier bags under her arms. Loaded them all into the car. We went off to other charity shops. Bought a load more. You should have seen her going back on the Sunday. She decided she would take it all back on the train because I had offered to pack it up and post it back for her. She decided she looked like one of those, those overladen
bag ladies.
Well, no, those mopeds that you see sometimes on a if you watch a film of India or somewhere, and there's a moped driving along, there's 14 people sitting on it, and all the luggage is strapped on. That's what she looked like going for the train on the way home.
You need a granny trolley, Lex. That's what you need.
I offered her my spare granny trolley. Would she take it? She would not. Apparently, in Bridge End, these things are in for dig.
And I think you'd need like I suppose the transit long wheelbase van equivalent of a granny trolley to you need some like long wheelbase edition granny trolley. Maybe that's something they can come up with for those of you that like to source that much more. We'll go into the chat and say a few hellos. Peter has popped in and said hi. George unfortunately won't catch it live tonight, that's fine. And Tom's coming with the professional YouTubers at work here comment, which is obviously aimed at the fact that we're starting a little bit late. So hi to Sib as well, BCP, lots of people, Pizza Retro Collectibles, Claire Riley, Lex is in here. Oh look, all my favorite people on one screen, and Z. Thank you, Lex, appreciate that comment. Steve's in there. So that's how it's going to be, is it? Right, okay, fair enough.
Can I just say, Tom said that my camera is so much better, and I never know with Tom whether he genuinely means it or whether he's just being Tom. So is this new camera any better?
Yes.
Yes, you're not a soft focus as you were last time.
Yeah.
Okay, I spent an awful lot of money on it, so obviously I wanted it to be
quality is a lot better.
I think it was almost £20.
Whoa. Calm yourself down there, Miss Jenkins. 20.
Yeah, the quality is definitely a lot better. Definitely, it is. It is good. It is good. Sam says when you finally make a chat live and then you get a message from your other half asking to pick her up from the train station. Sam, I suppose today was one of those days for myself as well, where I was doing a lot of driving, a lot of pickups, etc. And rather than seeing it sometimes as a negative as it can feel like, I try to remind myself at least I was available to be able to do these trips and pickups and things. So, for example, just now, I came to pick up my daughters and her friends because her friends' parents were unable to make it because I guess work commitments, etc. Whereas we have the option, at least with me, to kind of mess with my day a little bit, and I think it's just such a cool thing to be able to do, and you really do appreciate it.
That is
Yeah.
huge about reselling, is the flexibility, isn't it? It's the
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's one of the other things that Becca's kind of been like not struggling with, but with work is having to book holiday. Like just the fact that you have to go through the process of booking holiday.
I don't know what Beck's place is like, but Natalie's place, we got back from our holiday in Turkey and they said to her, right, we need you to book your holidays for next summer now. And she was like, but I don't,
wow.
I don't know what I want to do.
That would be such a huge adjustment now. If we ever, God forbid, went back into employment, getting our heads around that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and booking, you'd have to book time off to go to the doctors or the dentist.
Well, yeah, definitely. All these little things that you don't necessarily think about as often now. It would be quite an adjustment.
Because she's in the chat. So hi, Beck.
Hi, Beck.
Oh yeah, excellent. Yeah, so it's definitely something that you have to adjust to, and I know that it's not easy to adjust to that. And like you said, it is very far in advance. You have to do it because everyone wants to book certain dates, don't they? And you're not the only one with children. You're not a unique and beautiful snowflake, unfortunately. And it's one of those things that you have to kind of. Did you say I am?
Yeah, I'm a snowflake.
Yeah. Speak for yourself.
Remember, it feels a long time ago, but trying to book like Christmas off when we worked in retail, trying to book New Year's Day off, trying to book, you'd have to get in 6 months in advance, and then they say, "Oh no, you can't. It's too early." And then as soon as the day comes when you can book it off, everyone's got in there and booked it.
Yeah,
it's like, oh.
Well, well, exactly. I mean, I remember when I was in retail as well. There were certain times it didn't matter how early you were; it was just a no-no. And for your own sake, really. So, for example, at Harrods, no one would take time off in July. I mean, what a month! A beautiful month like July, you would not take time off. The people that did were doing so at massive financial detriment because July was when Harrods would run their sale, like for their Harrods customers. So you'd get some really big spending customers wanting to come in and use their Harrods points, and you could make a lot of your money in that summer sale period. So there was 2 periods during the year you'd make a lot of your money via commission. So obviously that would be around the New Year sale, and there used to be like a summer sale. So automatically, even though they're not implicitly telling you can't have that time off, if you do, you're pretty much ruining your year.
Yeah, we never worked on commission, so we didn't have that element of it to consider, to be fair.
Just going back into the chat and just saying a few more highs. I think Lex spotted the Fight Club reference. It's one of my favorite movies. I absolutely love it. Question: I'm doing my tax returns, she says, and I've got a question. Just kidding. Very funny, Lex. Yeah. Sib has a question. Says, my friend Hannah wants me to be a full-time reseller, but is getting my friend Hannah wants to be a full-time reseller, but is getting down about sales. She's screaming for more whilst her hubby all right.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Okay. Credit where it's due. Credit where it's due. That is absolutely amazing, Sib.
I didn't even until you stopped talking, and I then carried on reading. Bradley is getting down about the floor space.
His mate Bradley thinks it's just a swing. What do you think?
Well, Sib, that's quite a predicament your friends find themselves in there. Very funny, very funny.
I love that probably 50% of people watching have no idea what this is about.
Probably for the best. I think we'll keep
50% of people on the program have no idea what this is about.
Exactly. No one knows what this is about. Oh gosh, oh gosh. We didn't have a particular topic lined up tonight, guys, but there's a couple of things I thought would be interesting to touch on. It was kind of like a little news story, and everyone here that's been to a car boot will be familiar with this. We've all been to car boots, and you'll be walking through the aisles looking for stock, looking for this, that, and the other, and you'll come across that seller with their car, and they bring out boxes and boxes of what seem to be brand new Nike trainers. You'll see perfume, you'll see, as you guys may have twigged, I'm talking about counterfeit goods. And the reason why I brought this up is because there was an interesting story that kind of like my phone told me about. They thought I'd be interested in it, and I was. There's actually someone called Muhammad Malik, so the same surname as me, not related. Okay, just want to put that out there.
This actually one of these true confessions thing where you start going, I've got a friend and my friend has this problem.
No, this guy it had a lovely like Range Rover from what I could see in the photograph. He was photographed obviously selling counterfeit goods on quite a big scale at the car boot. Now, this is an interesting story from a number of perspectives because he's been punished pretty severely. He's obviously had like all the stuff that he was selling confiscated, trading standards got involved, but also he was then prosecuted under the Proceeds of Crime Act, which means that he had to come up with they reckoned he'd made about 100 grand through crime. So now he's got to cough up 100 grand within 3 months or he goes to prison. I don't know how new the story is or how old it is, but this must have happened on a number of other occasions, and this is just another occasion where it's happened. I think it's quite interesting the how the law have reacted, where they've caught him at a car boot where we're all familiar with going, but also, how many of you people out there are buying from stores like this, or are your radars always up, and whenever you think something's too good to be true, do you stick by that and just walk past those stores? Or have you ever been tempted and had a look and thought they look really good? Because believe me, guys, most people would struggle to tell a counterfeit pair of Nike trainers from a legit pair. Very difficult. There are some tells, such as how the label is put on. In a lot of cases, some of the labels are like glued on really strongly on the fakes, whereas I tend to think on the real shoes, I've only ever seen them stitched tightly, but it's so difficult to tell. What's your guys' thoughts on this?
I was going to quickly say trading standards are struggling to tell the difference sometimes. They're getting that good at it. But I remember going back to in the early days of when we started boot sailing, it would feel like there were so many stalls selling burnt CDs and DVDs with covers, like dodgy looking covers. And they were just blatant everywhere. They used to go door to door in towns. And I'm just glad they're seemingly clamping down on this, but it's really
something, like you said, that's happened, from time immemorial. I mean, I remember going to car boots, like you said, and buying myself. I used to buy myself Amiga games. I was only a kid, pound a floppy disk. So if a game was 2 discs worth, they'd charge you £2 for it. Back in the day, so that was always been happening. And obviously counterfeiting is something that has changed, because like you've said, Nick, that even trading standards are now having trouble in trying to tell the fakes from the real. But the punishment this guy has gotten is obviously as severe as pretty much as it can get, because he will be going to prison if he hasn't coughed up the proceeds of crime that the court have judged him to have benefited from.
But trying to make an example out of him, I don't know. It's not that I think that's steep a charge in any way, but these people need to be made examples of, because they're hard to catch, they're hard to convict. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also, Tom has just. Oh, sorry, you were saying something?
I was just going to say, in terms of that kind of stall, I always walk straight past.
Your radars are always up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carla, what about yourself? I mean, have you ever been tempted by the shiny new goods, or are you too seasoned?
I'm useless. For example, sports shoes. I'm useless with identifying which are real and which are fake, so I avoid them like the plague. And I watch people like, for example, Joe Penny's, and occasionally he'll put up a picture of the trainers that he's picked up that day, and I'm like, I would not be brave enough to pay maybe £5 or £10. And I know he's good, I can get 70, 80 quid for these, but I can't tell the fakes. So they don't, like you were saying, the very obvious ones where the label's upside down or it says bike instead of Nike or whatever, Those ones I'm okay with. But some of the fakes are just too good. They're just too good. And I'm not willing to risk my account. I have one eBay account and it's, God, 15 plus years old, and it's got all my feedback in that one place, and I'm not willing to chance losing that for the sake of, and and I certainly wouldn't buy things that I knew were counterfeit, because you're just asking for trouble, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to that, the stores like you described, like this chap had, when he's got boxes of the same trainer and they're flogging them off out the back of a lorry, there's no way they're legit.
Yeah, no way.
Because
they're either not real or they're stolen. These are your two options, aren't they? Nobody has a genuine lorry full of genuine products and goes, I think I'll flog them for a tenner. Nobody does that.
Well, the thing is that the game has elevated a little bit, because they don't often sell them for a tenner now, do they? They are actually, if you actually ever speak to these or ask the price, it seems to be that they're asking like 25 odd for them, 25, £30, which in itself psychologically could add an air of, semi-authenticity, because you're like, hold on, or this guy's just got a lot of front trying to sell fakes at such a high price. But that's the problem, and it's now gotten to the stage where even if you were to type in the codes that are on the tongue, for example, because I think you can do that, where sometimes that's a good way to spot a fake, is if you enter like the kind of code, that's the long code number that's on the tongue of the article number or something. If it comes up with a completely different looking shoe on a Google image search or something, then you know that it's probably not right. But it's now gotten to the stage where even the counterfeits are using the correct.
The more websites there are out there telling us how to spot the fakes, the more the counterfeiters also have access to these websites. So, for example, when I bought a Mulberry bag and I want to check if it's real, and I go and I type in how to find out if my Mulberry bag is real, and it says, oh, all counterfeits have this number. And I was like, well, if I was a counterfeiter, I know what I'd be changing.
Yeah, it evolves on a monthly basis, I'd imagine. That's why trading standards are running to catch up with it all the time.
And as sellers, go on.
Going back to the early days, there used to be signs up at one of the big boot sales we used to go to in Stevenage saying, no counterfeit goods allowed to be sold, police will patrol, whatever. You'd go in and they'd be there blatantly doing it. It's like they had so much front, these people.
Yeah.
They just didn't care. They really didn't care.
And it seems like dealers are always looking, the dealers that kind of sell this kind of stuff, sometimes I feel that even they may not be aware of the what they're buying is not like official merchandise. I mean, I talked about this previously, where I'm now starting to see a lot of Fortnite toys turning up. It's coming up to Christmas, and a lot of dealers, and some of those guys, I don't think that they would on purpose, buy or sell something that wasn't legitimate. I mean, some of these guys are in their late 50s, late 60s. They probably have never played Fortnite, don't know what it is. Have just heard, oh wow, Fortnite, making lots of money, it's the big thing, and suddenly someone presents them an opportunity to buy Fortnite toys. To all intents and purposes, they look, well, it's Fortnite. It's only if you're someone that's kind of aware of who Epic are and what a proper video game action figure looks like. I mean, if you've ever bought action figures based on video games, you'll know they tend to actually be a cut above a lot of the standard figures that you would buy from the likes of Mattel, for example. They tend to have a lot of detail. If you buy like a Batman action figure from the Arkham range of video games, or you buy an Assassin's Creed figure, etc., they tend to be pretty detailed. Now, unless you're aware of that and that Epic is just been valued at $15 billion, you'd know they would never put out or put their name to the tripe that you're seeing at the car boots. And I wouldn't say in those cases that those guys are like on purposely doing it. I think they've just been presented with, look, this is a hot new thing. I'll take them. They've been swindled, and in turn, they're going to just sell that stuff on. I mean, it's such a minefield. What do you guys think of that?
Well, I know that fake stuff has been making its way into retail chains. You know what I mean? Going on to food. Do you remember that whole scandal with the horse meat thing?
Oh, wow, yeah.
And it's the same kind of thing, because where are the checks in place? Stuff gets into the retail chain quite regularly, I think. So it's not unusual.
And from our perspective as resellers, the last thing you want to do is end up buying this stuff, like Carla said, and put it on your account, where all it can take sometimes is someone opening a case against you and stating that what they think they've bought is counterfeit, which can put you in such a precarious position. I mean, especially yourself, Andrew and Carla, you guys obviously do a lot more in the clothing line. Do you have any advice that you could give to anyone that about that kind of, because that would worry me personally, you know, the fact that someone could, you know, even just vindictively do that.
What you know, I mean, Caroline from the Celtic Traders just said in the chat that when she was starting out, she bought a Radley purse for 20p, turned out to be a fake. That was not fun because the Radley police came down on her. Now, I would know a Radley purse. I would know a Radley fake at 20 paces because I buy Radley. I spend half my life in the Radley shop stroking the handbags and wishing I could afford more of them. I know those things in the same way that you know RC. Yeah, if I held up some kind of dodgy market stall RC car, you'd go, that's a piece, you know. So stick to what you know. I don't buy Ralph Lauren. I've never owned Ralph Lauren. I wouldn't know a fake from a real one, and yet I see it everywhere. I see all the different Ralph Lauren sub brands, you know, and sub names and all the. I leave them alone because I don't know them. So stick to what you know, and if you're not sure, I would say don't risk it, because, like I said, they will crack down on your account. You're just one small seller, and they can afford to.
That's quite interesting, Carla, because you've actually differentiated within the same niche. So you're not even comfortable, I mean, to switch, because, you know, I would like to think that, for example, in RC, I would be able to switch between the different manufacturers, but in terms of like fashion or branded goods, you'd actually be as careful as
is what you know most on. So I like I said, a Radley or a Kath Kidston handbag or a Kipling handbag, but the other, you know, the more expensive ones I've never been able to afford to own, and therefore I've never got to know them, you know. That kind of thing.
I'm exactly the same. I avoid anything that I don't really know. So it's just about knowledge, really, and knowing what something feels like, what it looks like. And I mean, recently I bought that Ralph Lauren suit on the pound rail, and I wasn't sure that was, you know, real, but we looked into it and it did seem real. It seemed genuine.
But then if you'd seen that suit in the shop and it had been £30,
I wouldn't have.
And even if you'd known that you could get 150, you'd have gone, I'm not going to risk £30 because I don't know.
Well, we had an issue with that handbag, that Hermes.
Oh yeah, I've still got that.
which we're still kind of on the fence as to whether it's real or fake. But there's enough doubt there.
It's fake now.
Oh, okay. So we're pretty sure it's fake. Yeah. But that was like a 30 quid boot sale purchase.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone down the line of having something authenticated by the manufacturers? Because I know that's something people do.
No.
I think over in America, I'm not sure if you guys can confirm this or not, but I think eBay themselves has like a service, don't they, where you can get your item, like if it's like a brand like that, you can get it authenticated. I mean, I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty certain that they have a service like that. So I'd hope they bring something over to the UK that's similar, integrated in with eBay.
The issue for me of would you trust? So if I wanted a Mulberry handbag authenticated and I took it to Mulberry and they said, no, that's not one of ours, that's plainly off the market stall, I'd be happy with that. But would I trust the word of a third party on it? Would I trust them to know their stuff just because they happen to work for eBay? You know,
I think it's more just having the. I suppose it's more about just having the kind of legitimacy to sell it, so you know that you can sell it without worry. So if eBay are providing that service, even though it's the third party, if eBay are happy to say, okay, we've looked at it, or, you know, our specialist team have looked at it and branded it, for me as a seller, it would be okay. I mean, obviously, I'm not really like into the brand so personally, so I can understand you'd want, you know, for example, to go to Radley or Mulberry or whatever and get them to look at it. But I think a lot of sellers would probably be okay with the third party thing, as long as it was obviously eBay or recognized by eBay.
I was just thinking back, what you were both saying before about it. It comes down to what you know. Carla was saying it's your experience. And I remember when we had the game shop and we'd trade in Game Boy Advance and DS were huge back then. I could spot a fake Game Boy Advance cart before they'd even handed it over.
Yes, I would not have a clue.
Yeah. The slight difference in shade of plastic, the build quality,
the printing quality on the label would often be very suspect. Yeah.
Same on DS, and then when you get into disc games, they're even more obvious usually.
Yeah.
But like people, like Carly, you were saying, and because you don't have that experience, you wouldn't know, and you wouldn't trust yourself to have it right. Whereas, because I've handled thousands of them, I can tell immediately.
Yeah, and it's the same with money as well. Because when working in retail, you get to know just by the feel of something. Before you've done all the checks on it, whether it's real or not.
Yeah,
you can tell just in an instant. Oh no, that's not right.
Yeah, fake tenors were so easy to spot. Yeah.
Flippin' Fantastic Find says, I've been at a car boot when trading standards turned up. The sellers just abandoned the stalls and left it all. Well, I mean, that's crazy.
Ran and left the stuff.
Just left. They must have taken their car, because surely if you leave your car, you're still banged to rights.
Yeah.
You know. It's crazy. And DM says, I used to sell knockoff Nike Shocks many years ago and buy the real ones with the profit. They were identical in every way except the sole was a stiffer material and cracked easy. Amazing copies though. Well, that's very candid of you, I suppose, DM, to admit that. But like, you know, that's the thing. It's not easy. I suppose what we can take from that is it's not easy. Lex says the fake perfumes they sell though are disgusting. I don't know how people fall for it. I know my Chanel. Hell, I even know my. I think Chanel No. 5 is just.
A few people are making a good point. The chat's moved on now, but saying about the amount of fakes they find in charity shops, be it media, clothing, shoes, it's all in there. And they kind of don't seem to put the effort into checking, or they don't want to. But I've seen, like, you know, fake DVDs with photocopied covers still put out, you know, burnt discs with handwritten, you know, The Killer's album on it out there for £1. And you're thinking, come on, you know, this is fake. You know, this has been copied and made at home.
Little bit of effort. I mean, it's just such a minefield, and I think it's always good, especially coming into Christmas, to remind everyone. If this chat serves for anything, it would be a good reminder. You know, don't fall for the obvious. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. You know, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. We're coming into that Christmas period. There's going to be a lot of this stuff around. Keep your eyes peeled, and, you know, just look after your account, because the last thing you want to do is, after building up an account, and just like Carla said, you know, 15 years she's got into her account. A lot of people have got a lot of time and effort and money invested in their account, and the last thing you want to do is to throw it away, like throw it away on something like that.
And in a way, talking about this and how serious it is, you can kind of understand eBay's stance on it and why they are so harsh on it.
Stop talking me to death of me.
You know what I mean? Because it is serious stuff, and eBay has to take this stance on it, going back to the whole Vero thing. And I know that upsets a lot of people because they get it wrong quite often, and we're seen to be taking the rap for that. But you can understand why they have to take that hard stance on it.
Tom actually says, I've seen fake Levi's in TK Maxx sold as jeans.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And Sib says, I'm gonna have to read Sib's comment actually before I read it out fully. Make sure there's no no, it looks legit. Okay. See, we're even getting fake comments coming in now, guys. You know, it's gone from the car boot into fake comments.
Fake news.
Groupon, an industrial sized box of Ariel laundry powder was delivered for $21.98, which he told was 50% off. Sending a sample of the powder to the manufacturer's Procter & Gamble, following suspicions about the quality of the product, he found the powder was fake. Wow, that's I think that's a legit comment, isn't it? Or is he having me on?
We're all a bit silent now because we're never quite sure what's there.
On Fake Britain. Does anyone watch Fake Britain?
I've caught it a couple of times.
An eye opener. That.
Really?
Yeah. There's fake everything, isn't there?
Yeah. I really annoy Nick now because I don't want to buy any kind of chargers or anything that aren't official Apple. And Nick gets annoyed with me because he says, "Oh, they're fine."
It's a lot more money. Well, I can understand your perspective there. You know, it's an electrical item, isn't it? And you know, when you see, I think I saw like on Fake Britain, like fake Apple chargers, and they like set on fire, and you know, yeah, I mean, certain things.
I'd hope anyway. There's a slight difference between buying it off some dodgy-looking geezer at the boot sale and buying it off the high street. But I'm not. Yeah. I don't know.
Is there any difference between one level of fake and another?
But then there'll be fake Apple ones out there, like trying to look like Apple.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, it's a minefield.
Yeah.
The Tat Doctor says this is one of the main reasons that I don't sell clothing and shoes. That's a shame, Tat Doctor, I'd say, because as you know, Andrea and Carla and many other people on YouTube have shown, there's plenty of profit in that niche. It's a very competitive niche, but there's a lot of money to
sell clothes. They're all fake, you know. Just
yeah,
just be sensible about it. Really, I think is. If you limited yourself to only selling designer labels, then I think you would have a real problem. You'd spend all your time trying to differentiate between real and fake.
And Flippin' Fantastic Finds says, think Macari Authenticate. So there are ways around it. And I mean, if you do want to sell designer clothes, some of them can fetch really good money. I mean, I think I remember, you know, there's quite a few pieces, like individual pieces, like especially vintage Ralph Lauren and stuff that can go for silly money. I think I remember watching what's his name again, Ronnie Hart. He sold some really weird looking cardigan, just looked like an old man's cardigan, but because it had like a vintage giant Ralph Lauren polo horse, it went for silly money, like I don't know, like $1,000 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
So you don't want to miss out on that, do you?
I think sometimes, I'm just thinking back to buying at car boot sales, you can get a feeling from the person that's selling it, what they're wearing, the range of stuff they've got on their table. I don't know.
I have to say that we went to a jumble trail and I picked up a pair of Yeezys and I couldn't tell they were fake, and the lady actually told me they were fake and I put them down, but I wouldn't have known. I might have even bought them. Yeah.
Wow.
No, that's in the post office. Sorry.
Yeah. Go.
Sean says he records trainers in the post office, so it's evidence they're genuine, and I'm sending the correct size and shows you receipt. Royal Mail staff give me with the tracking. Sean, with the best one in the world, mate, I think you're wasting your time. For starters, your video will not prove that they're genuine. It just proves that you're sending them a pair of trainers. And furthermore, in my experience with eBay, if the customer shouts fake, you will have absolutely not a leg to stand on, because eBay will say refund them. Just refund. They will, you know, they will just force the refund because they're not prepared to get into that argument, and they're not prepared to listen to you trying to prove that they're not fake, because at the end of the day, the customer has the right to a refund regardless. So they're going to say, look, cut out all this rubbish, refund them.
Welsh Wonders has got a question for you, Nick. Good point though, Carla. You're right. The video won't do anything. Welsh Wonders has a question for Nick. Says, I've seen sealed fake media that is almost indistinguishable from the real thing, box sets, etc. Have you ever fallen foul to picking them up for resale on FBA?
Well, not that I'm aware of.
That's the thing.
Seriously, I mean, I'd like to think I'd know, but like you say, that it's getting harder and harder to spot. But so I don't know.
Well, I mean, you'd think that if an Amazon customer had bought a box set and it turned out to be a horrid quality copy with good packaging, you probably would have heard via your feedback or something. So probably not. But yeah, that's a good question. I mean, Amazon are going to be just as stringent, if not more, than eBay, aren't they, on items that are deemed to be, you know, counterfeit?
I don't know whether they have any systems in place, but you imagine the volume that must turn up. I mean, now with DVD, they've restricted it, so not so much. But the volume that was turning up, there's no way they could.
Well, maybe that was part of their reasoning. I mean, I remember hearing that part of their reasoning was that there were a lot of sellers that they, you know, that weren't, they couldn't verify the source of where they were getting their stuff from.
There's that, I think, and I think they're getting pressure from the big companies, from Universal, from whoever, and I think there's pressure from above.
Yeah. Did you read Tom's comment?
No, what's that?
Fake and copied DVDs are one of the causes of Amazon restrictions, said Tom.
That's exactly what we're saying, and it makes sense. It doesn't mean we have to like it, but it does make sense, and I can understand. To them, that's a tiny part of their revenue stream. And if to keep everyone happy and to keep the authorities happy and the big film companies happy, they just stop us selling used or new, then that's fine. They'll just stop it. They don't care. Yeah. The fact that it's taken a big chunk out of my income might pee me off, but they don't care.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's that they've got, we're selling on their platform. So like you touched on earlier, Nick, that they have to look out for themselves. They have to be seen as a company that is going to make sure that the companies that they represent by selling their brands, that they're going to only sell the real deal. Because if you're company X and you're spending millions and millions of dollars on creating a high definition IMAX extravaganza, the last thing you want is for a potential customer for the first time to view it as a poor quality rip or a poor quality copy. That's what those companies care about, and in turn that makes Amazon or eBay care about it.
And also I think that they're trying to stop the people that are selling a box with 500 copied DVDs into FBA. The people they're trying to target, they're not really trying to target me, Tom, yourself, whoever, who might somehow miss 1 in 1,000.
No,
but we just all get caught in that same net, don't we?
Yeah.
People that are unscrupulous and will literally send a pallet load.
Massive pallet, yeah. I mean, I think someone mentioned in the comments that they actually have seen a factory where counterfeit goods were being produced, and it is an industrial scale thing, isn't it? It is absolutely. It is a huge.
I'm watching that Fake Britain one where they were talking about fake alcohol and the fake vodkas and the stuff that was in it. And it was killing people, and it's like, holy crap! Thank God I don't like vodka, because you can't tell the difference. The bottles, the labels are perfect,
but the stuff inside it was just mere poison. Yeah.
So
okay.
Sleep well tonight, viewers.
Yeah. Wow. This has been a bit of a.
Say at the end of
Crime Watch.
Don't have nightmares.
Yeah. Yeah. But guys, treat this as like a public service announcement in a way. We're all in this. We're all exposed to this. It's out there in the market, so it's your job to be as like aware and clued up about this stuff, because especially coming at this time of year, you're going to see more of it on sale. So just exercise that judgment.
Adrian has a comment there, says one of the best examples of fake stuff are mini figures, Lego compatible stuff. Now a lot of figures are as good as Lego and are sold on eBay all the time, as I deal in this myself, but always say not Lego. But they shouldn't be on there. There's so much stuff on eBay that is blatantly obvious, and I don't know how they're getting away with it. Like multi-game cartridges are still available on eBay.
Yeah, one cartridge with like a zillion games. You load up what's meant to be Mario, and you just see like a green lizard running up and down, like some random game from,
Oh dear.
If this is going to turn into Watchdog, can I please not be Anne Robinson? I'm just getting my claim in now.
Can I be the bloke on the motorbike? What's his name?
Matt Allright.
Yeah, I'll be him.
Yeah.
I'll be. What was the pretty blonde one? I'll be her, because I can pass off myself. Alice Beer. I'll be Alice Beer.
Oh, Alice Beer. Yeah.
It's looking like either Z or Andrea's going to have to be Anne Robinson.
Lex says DBG is a fake. Lex, I don't know why DBG is a fake. Why is she a fake? Why is she a fake? That's a bit me. Yeah, I'm a catfish. My real name's Dave, says Dave. Wow, it's all happening tonight. Camden Market used to be chock full of bootleg live CDs, says David Morse. Yeah, I mean it is rife. I mean, but it's just
Daisy makes us like a fake Alice Beer, very much so. I'm not even a particularly plausible fake either.
Fake.
My label's all upside down and everything.
Oh gosh. Libel says good evening, everybody. Julie Cora asks, Carla, are you in Bristol?
Yeah, I just tried to reply. Yeah. I think that was the joyous ka-ching. I have not had any of these. I know you guys think I have them all the time, but oh my god, it's been so slow.
Yeah, we've also had a return request.
Oh gosh.
Which negates that sale, I think. It was one filter's coming back, one's going out.
Oh, one a swap for a swap.
Pretty much.
Frustrating when that happens.
Well, we had the old thing earlier. The filter you sent me isn't the same as the one I've just taken out of my car. You've sent me the wrong thing. I'm like, what's the number on the side of the packet? Blah, 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 blah. That's what you ordered. Open
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah.
This they've said doesn't fit, so they're paying for the return.
Ah, that's good.
Win-win.
That's good. That doesn't happen often, does it?
No.
No.
Oh gosh.
We usually get item not as described, and then I have to contact eBay, and they go, "Oh yeah, you sent them exactly what they thought they were buying."
I haven't had a return Touchwood recently that I can remember, but just had a first time in ages I've used Hermes. Yeah, first time in ages I've used Hermes, and it was meant to be like a deliver to a local shop type thing, you know, like the Argos Collect thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know how this works, but it's meant to be delivered to like a local Budgeons. I don't know how this works. The delivery address is like Budgeons, and Hermes have got an issue with the delivery address, so they're withholding the item until they get more information.
Oh.
So customers messaging me to say, you know,
what, like some of the Hermes drop-off shops are collection points as well, you mean?
I don't know. It's like they've bought this, and it looked like it was an Argos collection thing. You know, like collect to Argos. Because I've still got that turned on. But when I looked at the address, it's being delivered to a local Budgeons.
Oh,
I didn't know Budgeons.
Click and collect at Budgeons.
Yeah, I did think that was a bit weird because it's meant to be an Argos, right?
Markets, aren't they? We've got one coming into our Sainsbury's.
That's Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's and Argos have been doing it for ages.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of Sainsbury's which have got Argoses inside them now, isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, we've just lost Carla.
Oh yeah, Carla's vanished. Maybe she was a fake Carla.
Maybe it was a fake. Oh, the conspiracy is just getting. Oh gosh.
Actually, Alice Beer dressed up.
Yeah, maybe she should get the blonde wig ready. Yeah, well, hopefully she'll be able to join back in. I think she's got the link, hasn't she? So should be able to join back in. So that was a fake ka-ching, says Elia. Oh gosh,
It's a real ka-ching, but it's negated by the fact that we're taking a return at the same time.
And Stu says I've jinxed myself. Yeah, most likely. Tom says I had the return on an item that sold for £3.50, ordered by mistake. Wow, just
so irritating.
Oh gosh. I'm so late. We'll start from the start, says Ash. No worries. Okay, I sent a parcel to a newsagent and it had a code like Argos, says Billy Bryan. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like a Budgeons is kind of like a little local
They're doing probably a different scheme altogether, but essentially a drop-off and collect point thing. Whether it's officially with eBay or not, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not
don't
sure.
know how that would work.
Never heard of that before.
Oh, check this out. Flipping Fantastic Finds says, speaking of fakes, my mum was a machinist in the early 80s and she made my brother and all their mates t-shirts out of wet look material with Adidas transfers on.
Oh, wow.
That's epic. That's just ingenuity, that is.
I remember having socks. Instead of saying Nike, they said hike.
Oh, epic.
I probably still got some.
Just hiking socks.
Yeah, but they were pretending to be Nikes.
Hike brand.
Hike. For the middle-aged man.
That's brilliant.
Rambling.
Sib says, question, does anyone know what the new code on Hermes parcels is? The one on top right? No. Oh. All this fake talk is confusing me, says DBG. Oh gosh.
Says, I have Carla locked up in my basement. Oh.
No, she's kidnapped her. That's what it is.
Explain it.
Other than that, I mean, that's been one of the topics that I wanted to touch on today. And then what was the other thing I wanted to? Yes, I wanted to have a little, not a rant, but just as I'm trying to get myself back into Amazon and appreciating all that Amazon can bring, all the benefits of it, you know, the things that sell on there so quickly. I've just had a little situation where I'm a little bit annoyed by it. And I think, Nick, you said you've got a similar thing going on at the moment. I've sent 2 shipments up to Amazon. Total of the stock is well over £1,000. And part of me is now thinking I could have just kept it and sold it on eBay, and at least it would be for sale right now. What's happened is the stock's gone into Amazon. It's been there now for probably about 4 days. Marked as, you know, receipt, like the tracking has said the stuff has gotten to them and they've received it, but it's not even been looked at. It's just sat there, just not, you know, probably amongst thousands of other items.
So in your account, where you go into your FBA shipments, does it say, let's say, items 20, received 0?
Yeah, it says receive. It says inbound. They're still showing as inbound.
Oh, okay.
So someone at the warehouse has acknowledged the UPS delivery, but that's all that's happened. They've not even, you know, you normally get an email saying it's been checked in. I've not even had the checked in email.
So there's a massive backlog.
Yeah.
You know which country it was?
There were 2. I sent to 2 different ones. One of them, I believe, was Peterborough.
So I think
let me just check.
The Manchester one again this year.
Oh, you and Tom had a lot of issues with them.
Finish altogether. That was them losing boxes, let alone taking.
Yeah.
I mean, it normally happens. I mean, November, December, the backlog gets worse. And we're in November now, virtually. So yeah,
it's going to creep up on us.
Expect it. I've got another shipment. Well, I'm sending 2 today, and I'm working on another one, so they're going to take a while.
And have yours been actually marked as like processing or anything, or shipment received? Because mine aren't even showing shipment received.
A couple where they were showing as received, and it was like 20 items in the box, 20 received, but the stuff that was in those boxes wasn't showing.
So you're that's still further ahead. Both of mine, one of them's gone to Leicester and one of them's gone to Peterborough. Both of them are literally just, all I know is that the UPS tracking is showing it was been delivered. That's it. So that's all I've got. It's not even been, I've not even received the email from Amazon to say it's receiving or anything like that. So they're literally they've just accepted the delivery and probably piled them up. So if you're sending stuff to Leicester or Peterborough, it'd be interesting to know how quickly your stuff gets sent in. And hi, Carla. Back again.
Hello.
I fell out.
What happened?
If I tell you, then people are going to know I'm stupid. But in fairness,
oh no! Did you by accidentally lean on the power button or something?
To give you some context, this is an old house. There's only one plug socket in the entire room, so everything else in the room runs off of extension leads. One of the extension leads has an off switch, and it's under my foot.
Oh.
Oh, so you just turn the computer off.
Switched off the computer.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Might need to move that one.
Well, at least you're not being held captive by Lex in her basement, which she was trying to convince us.
Yeah, maybe it's a fake. Maybe it's a fake Lex.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was just looking at my. I went into Amazon. I've got a couple of shipments from a week or so ago that are showing. Oh, I can't find the page now. Showing as actually one has not been received. That's from about a week and a half ago or so, and the others are saying receiving. And they're quite old ones as well.
Well, at least receiving's a step ahead. It seems now that they're not even receiving. They're just, mine are just saying they've been shipped.
My Manchester one's just saying shipped. That hasn't been received.
You've got 2 that say ready to ship. Have you not seen?
Yeah, they're going today.
Okay.
But so how long ago did you send the one that's still just saying shipped? The one at Manchester?
What date are we now? 25th. It's about a week.
Oh wow, yeah, Tom. Yeah, I think Baz writes this big backlog at Amazon, and Tom is saying, yeah, there is a massive backlog already. Takes ages to log in. Pardon, Carla?
I said the backlog, mostly caused by Tom.
Mostly caused by Tom sending stuff in.
This year, I sent most of my bulk up last month, quite early on last month.
So I think that's a good bit of advice there. Actually, maybe start doing it in September because. Yeah, you know, I mean, luckily I was saying that the stuff I've sent in isn't particularly sensitive, but there are a couple of board games that if they don't sell at Christmas, they probably will sit there until next Christmas, which, you know, I wouldn't want. Their best chance of selling will be, you know, in this period, but most of it thankfully is not that sensitive to the time of year. But imagine if it was, if you've gone out and you've spent some money on stuff that you bought specifically to shift at Christmas, this is definitely something you have to think think in advance, and there's something that I didn't think about, which shows my naivety when it comes to FBA. But
I feel like I was doing things way too early, but I'm pretty sure I'm glad I did now, because the backlog is real. I was just reading Lex there saying, you will never see me and Carla in the same room at the same time. Well, apart from the videos and the meetup, and you know,
no, but that could have been CGI and green screen, and you know,
very good if it was.
Yeah, maybe she got like some really amazing like puppet makers involved in time for the for the meetup.
I think this is quite interesting. Going back to the fakes, Tom Keating was a famous art forger. His genuine fakes are now highly sought after. He was that good that people want fakes done by him. That's cool.
That is actually pretty cool. So good that he's just, oh wow. I like the term shipped when there are no ships involved, says Libel. Yeah, I suppose that is a bit weird. Okay. Question: any update video in the pipeline about Habu, the order fulfillment company for eBay? Asks N Parker.
Trying really hard to pin him down, but I keep saying at the beginning of September or the beginning of October, or we're like, yeah, just let us know, and then we get another one. Well, maybe the beginning of so and so. Sorry, I've been really busy.
Have you messaged him again?
No, I did think about it the other day.
We'll email Martin again tomorrow and try and pin him down.
So we're trying really hard to set this up.
But it's going to get busier and busier now, surely.
It'll happen soon, hopefully.
Well, Alicia says, my first time I ever sent a parcel to Amazon, it took Hermes a month to deliver it, as they kept saying the address Amazon gave me was incorrect. Finally got delivered. Yeah, that's a bit of
Hermes to send up to Amazon. Yeah. I only ever use UPS.
Yeah. Well, it's discounted as well, isn't it? You can send like 15 kilos for a $5. So
kilos, so I think it's £5 10p now, but yeah, it's a bargain, really.
Yeah.
Well, I make mine absolutely 15 kilos every time if I can.
I've sent loads of stuff, just like a couple of items, because it's like, as long as there's profit in it and I can just get it out of the house for a $5, I'm like, yeah, why not? Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Obviously, if you want to make the most of it, definitely. The only problem is Facebook and eBay hate you selling Ted Baker, says Sammy. What?
I've not had any problem selling Ted Baker. I've got plenty of Ted Baker listed.
I didn't know that. Yeah, we've sold Ted Baker stuff as well, and not had any issue. No. That trademark thing, but still slipped in a few, says Sammy. Okay.
Another area that's rife with fakes is trading cards, and if you do get into that on any level, it's a nightmare.
Yeah,
it really definitely. Because they're worth so much money for basically a little bit of cardboard.
Something else that I walk straight past because I just know that I wouldn't know where to begin. You know.
Yeah, I've got loads of Yu-Gi-Oh, and I don't trust myself with Yu-Gi-Oh because I've never played it. I don't really know the feel and stuff of those. Magic, I'm quite confident with, but Yu-Gi-Oh. No idea.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Actually, they're fake cards. Again, on some of them, Pokemon ones I found quite easy to tell because of they tended to not be very good quality on the back side of the card, like where it says. Yep. You know, the blue, the blue was different, and it just didn't seem quite in focus.
And the corners were cut slightly differently.
Yeah, so there's those, but yeah, Magic is a completely different animal. I mean, because the value in that is so great, isn't it? And some of the stuff, like the early stuff, that
not thousands per card. Yeah. And if you get into buying and selling that sort of level, then you have to be sure. Yeah. So luckily, most of mine don't go much beyond 20 or 30 quid if I'm lucky. Very lucky.
You did quite well with that other game cartridge that you made on your own in the garage at the back there, didn't you?
Oh.
Don't tell anyone I made it myself. If you've seen the pictures.
Gosh. Sean says, I paid just over £5 today using UPS. Yeah, sending a whopping 10 kg for one box. My third FBA order I'm sending. Sean's definitely gotten into it.
Yeah. Did he say that the other ones have been sorted out now? Because I know he's been having problems with stuff getting.
Yeah, I think they did.
Okay.
And Pete says, UPS, I send 14 kilo. I don't trust my scales. You know, that's actually a good point. Scales can be very finicky. If you've got scales designed for heavy weights, they're not very. You have to use them for their purpose. I've got a set of scales that are great for weighing like big, bulky, heavy items, but they're not very accurate. And if you've got something light, you have to use smaller scales. But yeah, it definitely makes sense to keep under the weight limit. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I go right up to it, trusting mine. Quite why I trust them. Like they were only like 35 quid or something.
You've not had any issues yet, though, have you? So
no,
there you go. Must be working.
That's kind of how I treat life. Until something goes wrong, I just carry on regardless.
But do you ever do that thing where you weigh them a number of times and you get different weights every time?
No, they don't.
See? There you go. See, mine sometimes I'll get like a variation. So.
Yeah, well then you know you can't trust them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh.
For my light stuff, I use a Heston Blumenthal. Look at that.
Oh, nice. I'm currently rocking for the light stuff. I'm currently rocking a Silvercrest tomato.
Oh,
wow!
I'm using a Hanson for the light stuff, and for the heavy stuff, you're going to be impressed with my heavyweight scales.
Go on.
For the heavy stuff, I am utilising a dressing gown cord.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, I've got one of them somewhere. But yeah,
for baggage.
Our actual one in the kitchen was the disgraced chef Anthony Worrell Thompson.
Yeah, Anthony Worrell Thompson.
The guy who was caught.
The guy was shoplifting,
stealing cheese.
Yeah, we're not very good scales either, though.
Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Oh, Alfie's gone.
Oh, was he back?
Yeah. Oh,
it's all right.
I love his little sad face.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask Sammy about the email that she got from eBay about Ted Baker. Was that recent? Because
somebody else mentioned Next recently, didn't they? In the chat. I want to say Callum Tucker, but I apologise if it wasn't Callum Tucker, but that's what my brain is telling me. Had an email saying that he could no longer sell Next items due to a Vero on it, and I was like, that's a surprising thing.
It's very odd.
But what it had said in the email was that you weren't allowed to take photographs of Next clothing or something like that, and I was like, well, that's going to be a difficult one for them to police. You know?
That sounds suspect. I mean, like, I know you guys recently were sent like a similar kind of an email, weren't you, about those that AA kind of valet kit, and you ignored it, and
we had a cease and desist letter, which we ignored. Well, it wasn't even a letter, it was an email, so I ignored it. If they sent me a letter to my house, then I might.
But that does make alarm bells ring that the competition may well use tactics like that. I mean, I'd be very surprised that Next would do that. I mean, Ted Baker
had a letter, and then they rang eBay and they told her. I'm not sure if Sammy's male or female, but that eBay then confirmed it on the phone that they weren't allowed to sell and that it was a Vero. And Kez is asking perhaps they used a Ted Baker stock photo because that would get them perhaps jumping up and down on your ass, wouldn't it?
It's so difficult, isn't it? Because so many of us have sold Ted Baker on a number of occasions without issue, and then sometimes it seems quite arbitrary the way they come down and apply the rules. So no, my own photo, says Sammy.
Yeah,
the
phone
cases
use the word Velcro, and yet other people get their wrist slapped for it. It does seem very very random.
Yeah, it is very random.
It is. It's like I had that fitness DVD set, whatever it is, the one lots of people have had that you're not allowed to sell. But every time you check it, there's like 100 on there.
Yeah.
So
are you talking about that extreme one? That kind of I think I've seen that. Like they're really protective of their brand, aren't they? That company.
Put it on a like 3-day listing or whatever, whacked it on really competitively, and it sold within a few hours, and it just got it in and out. But there's always loads listed.
And then they took it down as soon as it sold.
Oh, they sold it, and then you can't go into the listing anymore because they've
Yeah, I've had that with the Rosetta Stone before. They send you a message saying you're not allowed to sell this. I'm like, I've sold it.
sold it.
Been paid.
Flippin' Fantastic Fine says, I thought it was odd about the Next thread, but Phoebe Fin Fashion has said she had some Next listings removed too. Wow.
Very strange.
That is peculiar, yeah. And Will You Take Less has got issues with meerkats. I cannot sell meerkats. What?
Yeah, the official ones you're not meant to resell.
Really?
Yeah, I
sold some at Amazon last year.
Oh, what, the cuddly toys?
Yeah, like not last year, maybe it was the year before, like when they were still worth some money. Yeah, I sent them to Amazon. There were listings for them. I sold them at Amazon.
Interesting.
I wouldn't do it now because well, they're not like worthy, but this was a long time ago.
And a message about it, so I don't pick them up anymore. Not that there's any money in them anymore, apart from certain ones.
P90X, that's right, Jay Burke. That's it. That's the workout thing. And Beachbody is the company, says Tom.
Yeah, Beachbody. That was. I had a big 15 DVD set. I got really good money for it. Actually.
And Getopoly is another one that eBay doesn't like, but Amazon will happily. You can happily sell that on Amazon and get a lot more money for it too.
That fitness DVD set when we were up at Tom's. Remember when we all had a really good day at the boot sale?
Yeah, we did.
Like a $5 and then sold it for, I don't know, 60 or 50.
Nice.
Yeah.
Getopoly was actually the reason I opened my Amazon account in the first place, because I bought Getopoly for £2. It was like new, and it got taken off of eBay, and then I found out that I had to sell it on Amazon.
Yeah, I've never seen that. That's on my bucket list.
Yeah, I've never had one.
So you bought meerkats for the TV show, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Managed to get rid of them. God, that was a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and they do Insanity as well. P90X, Beachbody, same company do Insanity as well.
Insanity, yeah.
Sammy says Facebook blocked me for it and reviewed all my listings.
Really?
Wow, getting banned on Facebook for it as well.
It's a bit easier to sell, like
this.
No, but I've heard this though. I've heard that people on Facebook have been you can't just get away with anything. Can you just confirm that, Sammy, before we go? But like Facebook blocked you for Ted Baker. That would be really interesting to know. Sean says, question, Amazon won't let me sell most Lego, but I can send one Lego today and other toys. Why can't I send all Lego? Confuses me.
They make the rules up as they go along.
With Amazon, I've found that it really does pay to periodically check, because I've sent in things that have subsequently I've been stopped from sending in, and then a few weeks or months later, it's okay again for me to send them in. That's what I found. I mean, Nick.
I think it's got something to do with the sales rank, how popular a product is, because I know certain things in certain media categories are restricted because they're popular. So it might be to do with that, but I don't know.
Yeah, they just like do they can stop you and then allow you to sell at a whim, really, can't they?
Quickly answer that, Libel. Did you ever manage to sell the photo album with the Nazi pictures? No, the private sale fell through. We haven't really thought about it. I've been so busy with Amazon FBA, really. But we're thinking we're going to find a military auction and put it into that.
Yeah. And Sammy has confirmed that, yes, Facebook were a nightmare, had 35 listings. They took all Ted Baker off and reprimanded her.
Can I just, is it just me getting confused? Sammy, are you saying that both eBay and Facebook have prevented you selling Ted Baker stuff? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Or have I just got confused and misunderstood which one we were talking about in the first place?
Well, maybe she had them listed on both, and maybe. I don't know.
Sounds like both.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of Ted Baker.
Bear in mind, Facebook don't seem to mind if you want to sell your left lung.
I know, but it's weird.
We're talking about phone cases, so maybe it's something specific to do with these phone cases that they're clamping down. Maybe there's a batch of fakes come into the country, or You know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah.
Not so much the clothing.
Maybe.
Did I get that wrong? I'm sure they said
I think
phone
you said
cases.
phone cases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got clothes listed on eBay and I've not heard anything.
Yeah, clothes have not been an issue.
Clothes listed, bags and all sorts.
Yeah.
I'd be interested if you can PM me about that. That sounds interesting. The military page.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay. Well, I think we have been nattering on for, oh gosh, I don't know how long, but it seems like about an hour. Oh yeah, over an hour, just over an hour. 64
minutes late, so we're good.
Yeah, 64 minutes ago it says. So yeah, we were about 15 minutes late, so we've been on for an hour. We'll do a couple more questions, I think, and then we can call it a night. Yeah, Sammy said it was a trademark thing. Sean says, yeah, the new rule stopped me from doing merchant from home and blocked me from selling the toys I had in my inventory. And says, Sean, there's one thing you should know that I think unless you've been selling regularly throughout the year, that's a standard thing where Amazon won't allow you to merchant fulfill toys. You have to send it in via FBA. I'm subject to that as well.
Christmas, don't they?
Yeah. Unless you've sold within toys a certain number of, unless you had a certain number of transaction within toys through the year, they will do that to you. So I'm subject to the same rule, Sean. So
now because it kicks in for Q4, so that could be what you're coming up against there.
Yeah, and I think that will run until the first week of January, I believe, before they restrict. They'll email you to let you know.
With protecting Amazon's reputation for getting your stuff to you on time.
Yeah.
At Christmas of all times, when people don't want their children to wake up without their presents. Blah, blah, blah.
They want just only people with a proven track record of customer service and delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got to start my party prep now for tomorrow. Did nothing on eBay today, says DBG.
Your party? I don't think I've had my invitation. Have you had yours?
No, I've not heard anything.
Rude. Come on here, mentioning your party when we're not actually invited. Rude.
Well, Sammy says I had phone cases and handbags with tags bought cheap from House of Fraser. Yeah, I just unlucky, I guess. But it's good to know though. Thank you for sharing that. Even on Facebook, you do have to be a little bit careful, I suppose.
The bag because I've been thinking about getting a Ted bag. It just depends on the style.
Sib says, I like the Amazon ads on the radio. Do you want to work in a fun and dynamic environment? Yeah, sure. Well, they've been advertising for what jobs on the radio? Or is that to deliver their that must be to deliver their parcels and stuff?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
We've all seen documentaries about the warehouses. Nobody wants to work.
No one wants to work in.
Bad experience.
Oh, yeah, you've worked
not overly pleasant.
Yeah, because they sent all of you buyers up to the warehouse.
We used to have to do a week there every Christmas.
Oh my goodness.
I was a book buyer in the offices, but they'd send you to the warehouses to help out. And it was not my favorite thing to do.
Wow. Sib says, advertising for temp warehouse staff.
Yeah.
Not
to put anyone off if you fancy it.
I cannot imagine the pressure of Amazon at Christmas. I cannot even. I think at Christmas particularly is when you buy one small thing about the size of, for example, a can of Pepsi Max, and it arrives in an 8-foot box with 14 reams of brown filler in it because they don't have time at Christmas to choose the correct size box. They just grab the nearest box.
Yeah, we had a memory card for a phone turn up. This is about 10 years ago, and it was literally in a box.
Oh, wow.
You could put a dog in. And bouncing around in it was this thing that was
just don't have time to find the right size box. Any box will do.
Crazy.
Brilliant.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you everybody for joining us. We've got over 120 people watching, which is fantastic. Really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the chat, please leave a thumbs up and a comment. It'll be appreciated. The link to Nick and Andrea's YouTube channel and Carla's channel is in the description. Any final words, guys?
Happy Christmas.
Wow, that's quick.
What else is happening? Merry Thanksgiving and
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, all of those.
Yeah, that's the one. Halloween. That's true.
Please don't let fireworks off around my house because my dog's already a nervous wreck. There we go.
And Tom said, bye everyone in this fake stream.
Nobody had a ka-ching and it wasn't me.
Yeah, it was me. It was just some Aussie
That's
pop.
not Tom. That's a fake Tom.
Yeah, fake Tom saying that. Raw Tom wouldn't say that. All right, guys.
Thanks for
Thanks for watching. See you later.
Bye, everybody.